He says sing something like bang bang a lang a lang, bang bang a lang a lang. Like where Stalin used to sing bang bang a lang a lang, bang bang a lang a lang. It could be about anything bang bang a lang a lang, bang bang a lang a lang. Bring back style from long ago.
7:18 in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, if you've been tracking the journey of the Buccoo Reef, you'll know that the country's latest fast ferry arrived yesterday at the port of Port of Spain, but will go into service following the stipulated quarantine period for the crew. There's obviously quite a bit of a process before it could actually go into service. The government also has plans to acquire a cargo ferry in the not too distant future. Well, to give us some context to it all, we're joined by Works and Transport Minister Rohan Sinanan. Minister, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Arrival of the Buccoo Reef now. We've had the APT James into service as well. So what are we talking about? The time frame now before the Buccoo Reef goes into actual service. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Fazir. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And thank you once again for the opportunity to be part of your program. Go back to 2017, where we had all the challenges, 2016, 2017. The government did promise to have that sea bridge sorted out once and for all. Part of the process was the acquisition of two brand new ferries, fast ferries, and we immediately set out to design these ferries and to have them custom built for us. We were very happy yesterday that we took possession of the second ferry. We anticipate that ferry should be able to go, if everything works out the way I planned, within the next month or so, because we must recognize that because of the COVID period, the crew has to go into quarantine. We have to do just all the final checks and balances and so on. We anticipate within the month that ferry should go into service to operate on that sea bridge.
Any concerns that would have been expressed? I know it's very early stages, early days yet. It's only hours since the Buccoo Reef arrived, and there will have to be an assessment. There will have to be the entire island ferry people having a proper look at it and so on. But all the indications that all is well with the ferry on its arrival, because I know it left port in Australia, then had to go back because some alarm signals went off and so on. But does all appear to be well at this stage of the proceedings?
First, here, all indications that the ferry will be beautiful. It and it is in tip-top condition. It's a brand new ferry. It does have its warranties and so. And we anticipate no major problems going forward. All indications are that the ferry, it exceeded its expectations coming down.
And as far as the acquisition of a cargo ferry now, could you just give us some more detail on that, please?
Okay, again, way back in 2017, the cabinet did indicate that we should go out for two fast ferries and one cargo vessel, again, custom built to suit the requirements of Trinidad and Tobago. Now that we have acquired the two fast ferry, NITCO have been given the approval to now go out, spec that fast ferry. They would have had consultations in the past with all the stakeholders in Tobago to really get to exactly what is required. Because it's difficult for us to lease a vessel that suits everything that we need. So NITCO would have had those meetings and so, and now NITCO is in the process of speccing that fast ferry, and then we go out for a tender for a new built cargo vessel that will operate, the sea bridge, but more importantly, will be able to cater for the needs of Trinidad and Tobago going forward.
And as far as the time frame is concerned, and as we obviously have an understanding of the time involved, because if you're talking 2017 and you're building something brand new, it's not going to be done in a matter of days or months. You're talking about a lengthy period. No. What sort of time frame are you envisioning as far as the acquisition of a custom built brand new cargo ferry for the sea bridge?
Okay, if you look at the time, the passenger vessel, this is a different type of vessel. It took us about 2 years to actually build that ferry. It will take us a couple of months to actually spec and go out and tender and then negotiate. So maybe you're looking at to get a vessel like that, could be, say, between 2 to 2.5 years going forward. However, remember, we just renewed the lease for the Cabo Star for a 2-year period. So we do have a lot of capacity on the sea bridge right now. and we do have a vessel that will take us until we get that new cargo vessel. So we anticipate maybe 2.5 years down the road if one things work out to have that vessel here.
And are you confident now, Minister, that that very difficult time, especially for the people of Tobago, that whole issue, that whole challenge that would have been created by the departure of the superfast Galicia and the inability to have a reliable sea bridge both for passengers and for cargo, that is now in the past? Are you confident that that is now the situation?
Well, I mean, we have to put it into context. With the departure of the superfast Galicia, within 4 months, we had a vessel here. And since then, we have not had any challenges with cargo. The vessel that we used, which is the cargo, I don't think there was ever a day that it went to full capacity. We always had excess capacity. So we were a long time ago. Yes, we had a challenge with the passenger vessels, and you have to separate the two. But for any complaints on the passenger side, because we did bring in the Galleon Passage, which up to today still works and works perfectly. Then we had the Spirit, which was refurbished, and then we had the Jean de Valette. So we would have gone past this problem a long time ago. However, with the acquisition of the 2 new custom-built ferry, what we see is going forward, once we continue to maintain these vessels, and what we have done is that we have instituted an international firm to ensure that the vessels are maintained. The key to it is the maintenance. We see no problem going forward once we stick to the plan.
And you've just mentioned the issue of maintenance there, Minister, and I'm sure you know only too well that has been the bugbear for us in Trinidad and Tobago, not just in relation to the sea bridge, but in many other areas. Are you confident that the situation will now be rationalized and properly managed to ensure that maintenance does not become a problem later down the road with these brand new vessels that we've just acquired at significant expense to the taxpayer?
Well, Fazir, if we did not learn from the past, then something definitely will be wrong with us. Because the problem with the Spirit and the Express was maintenance. And that is where the ball was dropped. With maintenance, I remember coming in as minister and looking at these vessels, and nobody could actually tell me when last the oil was changed, when this happened, when that happened. The maintenance just fell apart. What we did since then is that we brought back in a proper maintenance system and a proper company to at least even maintain the existing vessels. And since then, we have not had any problems. So clearly, the maintenance is the key to the success of the sea bridge. We now have that in place, and it is important that we maintain that. No, it doesn't matter who is in government. The sea bridge is very important, and the key to the success of the sea bridge is having the vessels and have them well maintained. It is, I mean, we have had enough experience. If we try to do otherwise, what will be the consequences? So
let's try and just give the batting order of the way the sea bridge is operating. So now we have the APT James. The Buccoo Reef is supposed to go into service, hopefully if all goes well, within a month's time. We have the Galleon's Passage. Is that supposed to be the 3 that will run the passenger side of the sea bridge for the foreseeable future?
Well, quite actually, we have 4 vessels for passengers right now. Do we need 4 vessels? My personal opinion is no. Because if we have 2 vessels working properly with a proper maintenance schedule and everything, I think 2 vessels might be quite sufficient for us at this point in time. We actually have 4 vessels. So the cabinet will take a decision as to, do we really want to keep these 4 vessels? Because I must admit, these vessels are very, very costly to maintain. And even if the vessel is not in service, you still have to keep a crew on the vessel because the vessels are in the water and they have to be, the engines have to be working and everything like that. So cabinet will decide if we need, how much vessels we really need. But now that we have 2 vessels taking in excess of 2,000 passengers, and these vessels can do much more than 1 trip per day. Cabinet will decide how many vessels we need on the passenger side going forward. But I mean, the capacity on these vessels, as you can see, is significantly more than we had before.
And as far as the contractual arrangement for these vessels, what about the issue of the crew for these vessels? Are they going to be from local expertise, or are they coming with their crew as part of the contractual arrangement that they are the ones to operate the vessels?
No, it's a combination. The manufacturers have nothing to do with the crew on the vessels. What the Port Authority and NITCO would have done is that we went out for a tender for a management team, and that management team for the vessels comes with certain personnel. So we have a combination on the vessels of local and foreign crew. And that is part of the plan to ensure that the vessels are well maintained and well operated going forward. It's no different to what we had in the past when the Spirit
Minister, sorry, I have to interrupt you. For some reason, the system went commercial. So just bear with us for a short while. Sorry about that.
Sure.
Just bear with us for a short while.
Sing a track, make the girl them back that groovy, groovy. Take them to a time when music was groovy, groovy. Sing something like bang bang a lang a lang, bang bang a lang a lang. Like West Starling used to sing bang bang a lang a lang, bang bang a lang a lang. It could be about anything. Bang bang a lang a lang, bang bang a lang a lang. Bring back style from long ago.
7:29 in Trinidad and Tobago. Let me apologize to the Minister for interrupting his discourse, because we had a commercial break that popped up just. I suppose I should take blame for it, because I've been doing a lot of nonsense so far this morning. So I'll take the responsibility for that this morning. But Minister, you were making the point before we had that unscheduled intervention. But continue with your point.
No, I mean, the thing about it is that we have a combination of local and foreign crew manning these vessels. NITCO did go out for a tender for a management team for the operation and maintenance of the vessel. The vessel has I think it's about 6 foreigners on the vessel, and then the crew is then made up of local experts. Part of this management crew, the contract is that they have a transfer of knowledge. So at the appropriate time, only at the appropriate time, when we feel confident, will there be any consideration of having a local crew man the entire vessel. So there is a transfer in the contract, a transfer of the expertise. However, this was done in 2009. This was a similar contract. Unfortunately, nothing was put in place. And by 2013, there was a move to remove the foreign team, and that is when the problems with the vessels started. So we are not going to find ourselves in that same position anymore. We understand the challenges of having the vessels operate solely by the local team and maintained by the local team. My little knowledge of it is that we do not have that expertise to do that at this point in time. We'll have to build it, but it cannot be built overnight. So the crew, again, is a combination of local and foreign. And all this is to ensure that the vessels are never in a position where, they require maintenance and we keep putting it off and things like that. No, that is not going to happen.
And as far, just a final point on this, because obviously, because we had the Jean de la Valette for here for a while, it performed the service efficiently as best as I understand it. We have a number of we have the Spirit and the Express. I think one of those would have been sold not so long ago. Where are we at in that process? Because if the intention is to rationalize the entire service of the sea bridge, that we have new properly functioning vessels, properly maintained, it also means offloading older vessels that would have been leased and so on. Is that process going along smoothly? Are there hitches that we're going to be stuck with vessels that we're paying a lot of money for that are not in service?
Faziri, the long and short answer to that is no. We have already sold. We have a buyer for the Express. I understand the down payment was made and it is supposed to close within the next week or so. That will relieve us of the Express. As I said, Cabinet then will take that final decision maybe by next week or the week after as to the 2 additional ferries, which is the Spirit and the JDL, the galleon passage, as to the future of those vessels. And the idea is that those two vessels can fetch a fair price on the market now. So once Cabinet take that decision, then immediately either NIDCO or the port will go out to relieve us of those vessels. We are not going to want to be in a position where we have vessels just tied up, spending money on the vessels, and they deteriorate. Once you have a vessel tied up with no activities, the value of the vessel goes down, and then you have to continue spending millions of dollars, to make sure that these vessels are not wrecked. So we're hoping never to get back into those positions that the country found itself in the past.
So just in conclusion, the ideal situation, as you've explained, would be to have the APT James, the Buccoo Reef in operation for passengers, and a new cargo vessel that would replace eventually the Cabo Star. Is that the ideal situation?
That is exactly where we are hoping that we will end at the end of the day, because if you have 3 vessels like that built for our specifications, then I don't think we need anything more than that going forward, at least for the near future. Because if you build a cargo vessel for your specifications, you can take all the truckers. So if you have 250, 300 trucks, you'll be able to take that amount of passengers as well. And that is one of the shortcomings that we face with whenever we go out to lease a vessel, because you find you get the truck capacity, but you can't get the driver's capacity. And then you look at the speed that is required between Trinidad and Tobago. Once we spec that vessel will be able to solve our problems. Even these 2 vessels here, if the cargo vessel is down, there's a certain amount of capacity of cargo that can be taken on these 2 vessels as well, because the vessels were built for that purpose.
Well, Minister, we want to thank you very much for taking the time to be with us this morning to offer these perspectives with the arrival of the Buccoo Reef. We thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Fazil. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're more than welcome. Works and Transport Minister, that's Rohan Sinanan, just giving us some clarity there. So clearly the intention is with the Galleon's passage, well, the Jean de la Valette has gone, the Cabo Star, which is in service, that eventually it would be regularized and rationalized to have both the APT James and the Buccoo Reef and a new cargo ferry, which should be acquired with the process now starting within 2.5 to 3 years' time. We'll see if it actually works out that way, because as we know, and especially the people in Tobago know how challenging it can be when the system isn't working as efficiently as it should. 7:35 in Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be back right after this.
Keep my memory in your heart, anywhere you're going to sing.